Did you know Anatolian rugs inspired modern needlework? And how did one of the churches in the book of Revelation help shape the world of stitching? Let's connect the threads.
All right, friends, let's talk about a stitch with a serious passport stamp. I'm talking about the Smyrna stitch. It was brought to Europe from Asia via rugs and was also the birthplace. It was also the city that was the birthplace of a famous classical poet. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Samplers with Blue. We're at episode 7, I believe, which is pretty exciting for me. I have my beverage of choice. Grab yours and grab your stitching, and let's dive in. So a few moments ago, I was talking about the Smyrna stitch. The reason is because somebody in the comments a couple of videos back, I asked about your favorite stitches, and mine was the rice stitch. And then somebody posted about theirs being the Smyrna stitch. So it got me thinking about wanting to explore the history. You guys know by now I do like a little bit of a good little history. So in doing this, I actually found out some pretty cool things. There was a city in modern day Turkey that was called Smyrna at the time, and it was a very important place of trade and culture in Greek and Roman times. The city is now called Izmir, in modern day Turkey. But at the time, being that it was a center of trade, one of the things that was being traded from that port was rugs and all those things. So the rugs didn't come from the city of Smyrna itself, but from other Anatolian cities that had traditions of rug making. So from those rugs that were shipped to Europe, there was this method of working those rugs in this Smyrna stitch. It became called the Smyrna stitch because the rugs that had this particular stitch were shipped out of the city of Smyrna.
And how does the Smyrna stitch connect to the book of Revelation? Smyrna was actually one of the 7 churches in the book of Revelation. This was located in a region famed for textile production and for its master weavers.
Smyrna. In a little bit, I will show you how to do the Smyrna stitch if you're not familiar. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar. So if you're not interested in that, just please fast forward. But I found it fascinating just to get a little bit of history regarding the Smyrna stitch. Historians claim that was the birthplace of Homer, who was a classical poet that did the Iliad and wrote the Iliad and also wrote the Odyssey. No mention of stitching or anything related to that. But another interesting thing I found while doing a little bit of research on this was when these rugs were shipped to Europe, obviously they were something very different. They had never seen rugs like these before, and it was not inexpensive to get these rugs there. And once they were there, they were purchased at a very, very high price. So not everybody could afford these rugs. But the interesting thing that I learned about these rugs was that because there's such a pride possession, right? That people wouldn't put them on the floors because the conditions of the floors of European, even, castles or, very wealthy people's homes, the floors could get soiled and they were damp and could be quite damaging if the rugs were placed on the floor. So they would put these rugs to showcase them in their homes, either on the walls, or very common was to put them in on the tables, so that people can appreciate the stitching and the craftsmanship of these rugs that were brought from Asia.
Anatolian rugs are renowned for their intricate designs, rich colors, and complex weaving techniques, many of which use symmetrical Turkish knots that are echoed in today's needlework patterns. These historic crafts have passed down motifs, dye methods, and even stitching styles that influence modern embroidery and textile art.
You know, I would look at these paintings, right? From like Hans Holbein is probably the most famous. So you look at these paintings and he has, you know, very regal depictions of people of that, you know, nobility of that time. And they all have, you know, typically a table with some, you know, objects on it. But there's a rug on the table, or there's a rug in the background on the wall. And I was thinking about it, and it's like, it absolutely makes sense that they would place these rugs on the table to appreciate the quality of these treasured items. So yeah, I'm gonna, I don't know if it's gonna be helpful. I want to use that same piece of linen that I previously used to show you the rice stitch. I want to show you the Smyrna. All right, so you start the Smyrna stitch just doing a regular cross over 2. Okay, can you guys see that? It's this one over here. It's just a regular cross. Okay. And then what you do is you make another cross, but you rotate it. You rotate the cross at a 45-degree angle. It's just, instead of a X, it's a vertical cross. You see that? Don't look at that one because that's the rice stitch, but that's it. That's the Smyrna. All right, here we go. All right, so I'm in the corner and I am doing my first X. Hold please, I just unraveled my needle. So I have to rethread it. Now we're back. All right, so I had one cross and I'm doing the other cross. I'm pulling in the other cross. And then I'm going to the X, I should call it. And now what you do is you do a traditional cross. So, do you guys see that? It is a regular X, and then it has a vertical cross on top of it. I'm gonna do it again. So it's the X over 2. And then it's a cross. Oop. Do you guys see that? So that's basically the Smyrna stitch. It has a really beautiful texture and it's very easy to do. That's the rice stitch that I previously talked about, and this is the rice stitch that I previously showed you guys. But yeah. All right, now that I've shown you guys the Smyrna stitch and I spoke to you a little bit about it, why don't we dive into my whips? All right, so let's start with Mary Wallace. This is where I was last week. You'll see that I had started on the W and was almost done with that second band of the orange. Finished the basket in the center, started the second basket, and worked a little bit more on the border. I'll put that up as I'm moving into the progress from this week. All right, so this week you'll see that I completed the W. I did this cute little heart. I did change the colors. I just wasn't crazy about the blue contour around it. So I changed it to a red contour. I finished this orange band. Well, I didn't finish. I still have this little accent to put on the basket, but I did work on this basket, and I started this of flowers right here. I worked a little bit more on the alphabet, and I also worked on the border over here, filled in these strawberries, and started working on these two right here. So moving right along, let's go into Dorcas. You'll see that last week I started section number 3. I finished section number 2. And section number 3, I just started the outline of that band that jogs, and started some of the stems for the grapes and a little bit on the grape leaf. This week, I completed the outline of this jogging band. I did all the stems for the clusters of grapes, and I started filling in more of these grape leaves, like this one and this one. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do these clusters of grapes, because I am changing the colors, as I mentioned to you, on the clusters of grapes, and I don't know if I will like it. I think it calls for them to be outlined in this dark green, but I don't know if I'm gonna like having them outlined in this color of green, or having them outlined in the color that I'm planning on doing the satin stitch. So stay tuned for that, because I haven't made a decision yet on which way I'll go. So hopefully soon I'll figure this out. Okay. Last week you see that I filled in more of the red and the vines, the leaves, as I was carrying on, working and continuing to fill it in. This week I filled in over here these leaves over here. I worked, I added these leaves and this, and I extended and stitching this, extended all this section over here. So I hope to finish this next week. If it looks like I should be, I'm not making any promises, but based on what I've been able to finish, it looks like I should be able to finish this next week. Fingers crossed, and toes crossed, because I've been working on this one for a while, and I would like to see it finished. All right, so Merry Christmas. What did I do here? I had done all the letters. Well, I had vertically expanded this this stitching just to see the extents of the top and the bottom.
And I filled in so I had all the M, the L, and the H for Christmas, and a little bit of the border below it. This week I started this little tree. I did the C for Christmas, and I've completed the M and started on the O. I did start this gift, but I don't like the color of the wrapping paper. I just feel like it's too dark and it's taking away from the rest of the stitching. So I'm probably gonna pull that out, frog it. You know how much I enjoy it. And I will have to figure something else out for there. Use a different color. This is also rather light, but hopefully it will show up. All right, moving on to Ginger. Last week I did start on the second bunny ear and framing more of her face in the picture. And this week I have filled in her face. I added this little cute little cheek. I filled in her nose. I contoured around her eye. I went into this edge of the face to get this framed, and started on the what is it called? The little handkerchief. I am still thinking this might be too light, and I may change these colors. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I keep these colors or change them? Do you think they're too subtle? They seem a little subtle to me. So yeah, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to get your thoughts. All right, and then the last thing that I worked on this week was Oscar. Well, the last WIP that I worked on this week was Oscar. And what did I show you last week? Gotten up to there, finished. Well, not finished. I still have a few little crosses to do in that bottom left hand symbol, but yeah, that's where I was. I worked. So this week I worked on filling in this top portion over here and started working on the A. This is also very, very tedious and slow because I am, it's just constantly like changing colors and jumping around from spot to spot. So it takes a lot of time to do all of that. It's not, I don't know what that was, that lint. It's not that quick. So yeah, I'll keep working on it and make a little progress. But yeah, I started this in honor, I went back to this, I should say, I went back to this in honor of Veterans Day. I hope you like it.
All right, friends, that's going to wrap it up for FLOSSTUBE number 7. Thank you again so much for watching this, for liking, for subscribing, for doing all the things, for participating in the comments. I truly, truly appreciate each and every one of you. I'm grateful to everyone. I'm just grateful to be part of this stitching community. I'm really thankful for that, and look forward to seeing any progress that you guys wish to share with me, or any comments that you might have. And yeah, thank you, and I'll see you next week.